We got my new friend Moses Gates in studio.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Moses.
It's Moses NYC on Twitter.
Yeah.
And, of course, he's the author of Hidden Cities, Travels to the Secret Corners of the World's Greatest Metropolises, a memoir of urban exploration. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBookstore, Books A Million, and IndieBound.
Damn, that's like...
It's going to be a big book.
That's for reals.
I hope so.
A lot of people are pre-ordering just because of the videos we made.
Yeah, that was a crazy time, man. That was a fun day.
Yeah,
that was. I finally said
insane.
I think it was last week. I posted 3 videos. It was all in one day that we did shit.
Yeah,
we were underground for at least 2.5 hours.
Yeah, because it was about a 3-mile walk, and we stopped a little bit. So I think that was like a 4 or 5 hour day.
I would think even longer, but yeah. I was going to say 5 or 6 hours, but I found out that Moses was coming in, and Roland goes, "Hey, man, he's more than willing to show you around a little bit." I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" And the one thing I always wanted to see was where Mole People was filmed.
Yeah,
not Mole People. The I forgot the name of it.
Dark Days.
Dark Days. Thank you. Thank you. The black and white movie, and it so happens it's relatively close to where I live, and I've walked that area a ton of times near the water. And all of a sudden, man, I show him. Moses goes, "All right, meet me by the statue."
Statue Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah, It was all creepy. Yeah, like I was in the middle of some like game of Clue or something. Meet me at the statue.
Well, it's no fun if we just meet at a coffee shop or something. Right.
And then I just trusted you because of Roland. I didn't know him, and all of a sudden I meet him at the statue, and there's Moses. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't. I'm expecting flashlights and all sorts of shit. We did have one flashlight, but he didn't check the battery, so we're underground for 3 hours in the dark. I'm like, we could have used a flashlight.
Oh shit.
So you got to read the book because there's at least 3 times in the book where I forget a flashlight. So
that would seem to be number one thing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the number one thing? That should be
number one thing is you,
right?
Like yourself,
right?
Second thing, the flashlight so you can see.
In a way, it was cool that we didn't have a flashlight because a lot of times we were walking and it was pitch dark. And remember the one moment I almost fell into a fucking hole.
Yeah, you got to watch for that.
There's holes, like big fucking holes down there, and there just happened to be light in this area. We were walking, just chatting, bullshit, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy fuck, we almost walked into this pretty impressive hole.
There was one time, this is a long time ago, I was in an old abandoned courthouse, and I just fell backwards down a hole. Just like,
really?
Bang. Yeah.
Wow.
Fell about like 7 or 8 feet, got up, hurt to breathe, got on the number 2 train, checked myself into Harlem General.
Right.
Waited a couple hours in the emergency room, and, I ended up okay. But you always got to pay attention. That's the point.
Right.
Holy shit.
Where was that courthouse?
On 163rd and Boston Road up in the Bronx.
Is it still something you could check out?
I don't think so because they're redeveloping it. I mean, it's this beautiful, beautiful old courthouse, and it was abandoned, I want to say, since the 1970s, but I'm not sure. And they've been redoing it. They've been rehabilitating it. I think that it's going to be a community center. I'm not 100% sure, but that whole area has been built up a lot.
What did you get to see in there before you fell backwards?
Have you been to any of the downtown courthouses? Or any, just an old courthouse downtown.
I've been in an active one.
Yeah, we've been in a few active ones over the years.
Imagine that, and there's a real cool statue up on top also. So just imagine like one of those old beautiful courthouses with the staircases and the railings and everything like that, but just empty.
Wow.
There are also old jail cells in there too.
Really?
Yeah, in the basement and also I think on the 4th floor.
Yeah, you feel like you're walking through like Silent Hill or something.
Like one of those creepy video games.
Right. So we went where Dark Days was filmed, where the Mole People used to live. And that's below, I guess, the West Side Highway, more or less, right?
Yeah, underneath Riverside Park.
Riverside Park, really. And then you could kind of see the West Side Highway through some of these gates that open up.
Yeah, it's crazy because you're down there and you can hear people, like, walking their dog above you.
Yeah, wow.
We saw one.
Yeah.
Remember, we yelled to him. I was like, oh, great. If fucking Moses was a serial killer, I'm fucked right now. Somebody was getting a Frisbee or something. And I didn't know. I thought that people still lived underground. I finally learned that that's pretty much not true anymore. There's a few stragglers here and there, but in general, people aren't living underground in that area.
Yeah, no, that's correct. Because what happened was that was an active rail line for decades. It was a freight line, like the High Line, right?
Yeah.
So the High Line used to connect to that rail line, and it would take freight from the Bronx or from upstate down to the meatpacking district. And that was the whole purpose. That's
and the
how you got
highlight
it
for the
there.
people outside New York, they made it into a walking park. It's really cool. You know, railroads are obviously above ground, but they made it. It's really a nice little thing to check out if you come to New York.
So anyway, they decommissioned that as a freight line in, I believe, 1980, and then that entire tunnel was abandoned from 1980 until the 1990s.
What a great time.
Yeah, when they started running
Yeah.
Amtrak through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was just a giant, wide open space, and it was perfect for people to just go chill down there.
And with, you know, crack and like the perfect timing.
Right.
The gritty, dirty New York and everything. Shit.
Shanty towns
Must
popped
have been
up.
crazy down there.
How many people lived down there at its height?
I mean, nobody really knows. My best guess would be a couple hundred, but I'm not.
That was it?
I'm not the guy
I've
to
always heard
ask. I wasn't there back
thousands.
then.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff gets exaggerated.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, but then we, we popped down one of these holes.
Yep.
And then this whole world opened up. It was so cool. I'm not going to lie to you. I was trying to be cool, but as soon as you said we're going down this hole, I was ready to bail. I'm like, no fucking way. And he found, the first hole we found was just, not just garbage, like horrendous garbage,
Really?
like almost sewagey garbage. She's like, oh, this is the only one I can find today. Because these holes pop up.
Yeah.
And then, the city covers them up, and then they just find another one. You know, they make another one.
I do give you props for meeting a strange man in a park and following him down a hole in the ground, though.
Wouldn't be the first
not
time.
Everybody would do that.
So we found a hole, and
there you go.
I went to Moses. You first. He went through.
Well, he's got to lead the way. Sure.
Poked his head up.
Right, that's when
this is a good one, because he didn't even know. He didn't know if we were going to just drop straight down. He's like, no, this is a good one. Come on down.
That's when I learned that I had forgotten the flashlight and that my batteries were out. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you
Fussed around a while, and then we're like, it'll probably be fine.
let your eyes adjust and just kind of walk around.
It's dark down there, man.
Yeah, huh?
And then, like, the grates from above give you some light, and that's where all that cool artwork was that you were showing me.
Yeah, there's a bunch of great artwork down there. And Ed Koch, I can't remember if you were there on that trip or if it was a different trip.
No,
but,
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, but Ed Koch died Friday morning, and we were there on a Sunday afternoon, and somebody had already painted a "Rest in Peace Ed Koch" graffiti mural.
Really?
Yeah,
Down
it was
there.
really cool.
In the darkness. And now it's an active railroad, obviously.
Yeah, Amtrak runs through there.
runs through there now. And we saw, I think, 3 or 4.
Yep.
And at one point, we thought it was one of those slow-moving fucking trains, like it was like some people that were going to get us in fucking trouble. You even panicked. I saw it on your face, like, oh, fuck, this is something we don't really see usually.
I mean, I try to play it cool, but I'm always really nervous on these things.
Right.
So.
Right.
I would think. Yeah, you're getting nailed.
Some people just don't give a fuck. Some people are just like, on we go, we're good. I'm always really nervous and have to try to like kind of play it cool.
Well, something like that is one thing, but the Chrysler building, that seemed like a little more you could get in pretty big trouble for.
I mean, I disagree. I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, we're on the radio talking about it. I guess we'll find out. But it's like, it's all above board, you know. There's nothing shady, so I don't know.
I don't know. It's just
the floor is just empty.
I read recently an article was put out about people saying that urban explorers were helping terrorism
That's the
by
silliest
showing
thing in the world.
the weaknesses of.
I mean, that's the silliest thing in the world, man. It's like one of those things where, like, it's 2013. Folk, like, if you like think you're gonna put the internet back in a box, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
you know. So it's, you know, the MTA has an official Twitter feed where they have photos of the tunnels. You know, you can go to the library and get architectural plans for everything.
Right.
Like, it's just stuff is out there, and it's a much better tack to take to teach people about the city and teach them, like, here is what's where, how you can get out of places in an emergency. It's much better to have more knowledge rather than less
what Moses
knowledge.
is saying,
Yeah.
he thinks everyone should have the opportunity to stand on that eagle head and
my
climb
God.
to the top of the spire.
That's pretty.
Where no one has ever been, or very few people have ever
That's
been.
pretty fucked up. I was watching that. I was looking at that. That's crazy.
Spire is cool. I made a mistake, though, that's not, and I got called out for it on, I think, the YouTube comments or something, where all that concrete stuff, that's like fireproofing.
Right.
Right. That's and I messed that up in the video. So
That's
take the
all good.
opportunity
Don't
to
worry
correct.
about it.
You know.
But we leave the underground tunnel. We didn't get to run into the cat lady who's still living down there. I wanted to talk to her. What's her name again?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
There's a lady named Brooklyn that has how many cats?
A lot.
Oh man.
Like a lot.
Like dozens?
I would say dozens
cat
would
lady.
be accurate. Yeah.
Dozens of cats. She lives down there full time. And the only reason I bring this up, Moses and his pals, before he took me around, they spent the night down there with her, right, for her birthday or something.
Yeah. So this was
That's fucked up.
Yeah, you can read about it in the New York Times. My buddy Steve was doing a big underground trip that he did a lot more than just that tunnel, but I just joined him for just the night in the tunnel with a few other friends of mine. And yeah, it was fun. We had a party. It's if you look up, I think it's called The Wilderness Beneath Your Feet on the New York Times. It documents it. It's got the whole story.
Right.
I would just think with something like the Chrysler Building, people would be afraid. I mean, that's an iconic building that maybe some shenanigans up there would go on, and people because you try to get into this building.
But you're hoping they're going to talk to us?
No. I'm just saying, you go into this building and security is crazy.
Right.
It would seem to me like, God, why wouldn't there be more security, you think?
Well, I just want to walk people through it. So then we jump in a cab. We're way up near Harlem when we finally got out of the tunnel. We walked, you said 3 miles underground?
Jesus.
2.5.
2.5 miles underground. Finally got out where you get out without really giving it away to everybody. And the only people we saw were other people exploring, by the way, down there.
Yeah, every time I go, I run into other folks taking pictures or doing whatever, yeah.
Not many. I mean, a handful, I guess, every time you're down there.
Yep.
And then we jump in a cab because I got something really cool, but I don't want to tell you. I'm like, all right, I guess I got to trust you, even though I've only known you 3 hours.
Come on, we bonded in the tunnel. We did all right.
And then we're in the cab, and then I see the Chrysler Building coming up. I'm like, holy fuck, I think we're going to the fucking Chrysler Building. No fucking way. And what am I allowed to say?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, then we.
I don't know.
I'm saying is, I'll say this. Then we arrive. It's obvious we're going into the Chrysler Building, and I could say this much: we got in the building legit. I can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
we weren't breaking any laws.
Yeah,
I don't know what laws we broke officially that day, but
honestly,
I certainly know we didn't illegally enter the Chrysler Building.
Yeah, I don't think any actually. I mean the 61st floor is just empty.
That amazes me. The 61st floor is obviously the old observational deck or observation deck.
No, the old observation deck is 71, and that's actually.
You know what? I got confused by that too.
Oh, yeah, the old observation deck was all indoors. It's on 71. It's a private office now. 61, it was just an office building, and it was there was a lawyer's office.
Wait,
there
the
for
one
a
with the
while.
eagle's heads. What floor is that?
61.
Oh, so they have an observation deck.
They used to. It closed in, I think, 1945.
Oh, I thought where we were was the observation deck that was closed in
No.
1945. Why wouldn't that be the observation deck with the eagles right there?
No, they should make it an observation deck.
Because you can walk outside there.
They will make more money than if they rent it out as an office, and they will especially make more money than if they just keep it empty. If I would totally make that into an active observation deck, it would be so great.
Now I want to know what's on the 71st floor.
71st floor is I forget what kind of office is there, but it's a private office. It looks kind of the same as the other floor we went.
Oh, because the observation deck I just assumed was the floor with the eagles, because that all would make sense. You go outside, you take the pictures near the eagles.
I think it would be the coolest thing in the world. I would definitely pay $10 to go out there. Maybe even 20. Who knows?
So then we got up to, all right, so that was 61. We got up to 61. It's an empty office, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This whole floor is empty, and it's just me and him and these iconic eagles.
I mean, it's a great place. The last time I was there, they're doing work on it, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be rented up soon if it's not already.
Wow, they were working on it?
Yeah, they had.
You went back after I went?
I've been up there a few times, man.
Since?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I've lost track, but yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And then, I'm taking a look around outside. We got outside, and the guardrail's not too high. That was a little freaky.
Yeah, but it's fine.
No, I was all right with it. I'm not saying I was all right with that. And then I'm just kind of taking a look around, checking it out, going, holy fuck, I can't believe I'm checking this out. And then I turn to my left, and you're just sitting on the eagle's head without even telling me.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's
first.
the point of going 99% of the way there and then not going all the way?
film that at first. I mean, we did some things afterwards, but I'm like, this is so no big. My point is, it was such a no big deal to you that you just walked out there. You didn't need to get my attention or anything. You're like, I'm here. I love being here. I'm going to go sit out on the Eagle's head for a little while he takes a look around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, think of it this way, right? You have this table here. This table is made, this, like, part right here is maybe the size of the Eagle's head. Even, like, if I told you jump up and stand on this table right here, you'd be like, whatever, no big deal.
But
it's
we all understand how that works.
You have, I'm able to ride a bike on a sidewalk without ever thinking I'm going to veer off and hit the grass.
Right.
But if you put that over the Grand Canyon,
put a floating sidewalk above the Grand Canyon, you would lose 9 out of 10 people easy.
Yes.
Even though they would never.
Yeah.
Well, that made the point. So, we're on 61 checking out the Eagles, and then that's when Moses said to me, "I think we go higher today." I'm like, "What? Now what?"
Yeah, so we get up to the Crown, I guess, and that's where they have the triangular windows.
Yeah, right. But so we're on 61. I think the elevator ended more or less a little further up, right? But we didn't use elevators at that point. We were just kind of walking the stairs. The stairs ends where?
The stairs ends at, I believe, 76, I'm fairly sure, is the highest actual floor. And then after
76 stories, Ed.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's
there,
just like ladders, and you got to haul yourself up through a couple of cross beams at times. It's just kind of monkeying around.
I'm not going to lie to you. We were in a certain area around 76, I'll say, and it looked like we were at a dead end. And I was kind of relieved. I was like, all right, good. I got some cool footage. I know I got a video or two out of this day. Let's get the fuck out of here. And then, of course, this guy always is trying to, the little I know about it, but I figured it out. He's just like, no, man, I can't give up now. I'm here. I got to see if there's anything else I could do before I, call it a day. And he did a couple moves that I was just like, what the fuck? And next thing you know, his head is popping over the side going, hey, meet me over here. I'll just say that. I'll let you in.
And
that was the floor where my video starts, where now we have to climb the ladders.
I mean, I'm an okay climber, but I'm not a professional rock climber or anything, Like, I'm fairly in shape and can make a couple moves, but, like, I've been places, like, I was with my friend Timmy O'Neill, who's a really great professional rock climber, and he's like, I've been when I'm with him, where he's just like, boop, 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 climbing around buildings and shit, and I'm just like, But it's just, he knows he can do it. He's comfortable with it, so I don't freak out.
Some people have. How do they access some of those antennas and electronics up there for maintenance?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? All of these places are places that human beings have to go for maintenance, for repair, for whatever like that. So there's always a way to get there.
Yeah.
But I have a friend of mine also who works on telephone repair, and it's the same. He's always telling me I should go be a telephone pole repairman or something like that, or a cell phone antenna repairman.
You're not scared of heights at all, huh?
Not really. I'm pretty good with heights. I mean, it doesn't freak me out now.
Well, thanks to you, I now get anxiety because
I feel so bad. I didn't know.
I'm not even joking.
I was
never that guy. But since I filmed you on the Eagle, I've just seen you. I'll tell you to your face. I've seen you fall a million times as I'm trying to go to sleep at night.
All right.
I just see how it could have easily happened.
Has this affected his performance at work in the mornings? Is he all right?
No, I think he's okay. But
no, it's not that bad. But I just see
it's reason number 20 that he can't sleep.
So Hidden Cities, man. We haven't really talked about the book, so I'm going to take us through the book a little bit.
All right. So it's Hidden Cities. It's available in bookstores everywhere, on the internet, all like that. And it's just a memoir of me adventuring around the world, trying to go places I want to go, see things I want to see. It starts in about 2005 is when I started to really get into this. I went around a bunch of places with my buddy Steve Duncan, who's a really, really great photographer, and you should check out his website too, undercity.org.
Go there, please.
So it's the kind of thing where we started going to France was the first place abroad we went. We went to Italy.
So you got a lot of money?
No, I travel really cheap. So everybody asks me this, right? I was working as a double-decker tour bus guide when I did all this stuff.
Right.
Hustling for $20 an hour on the tours, $10 an hour if you're waiting for tours.
Right.
So I travel really cheap. It doesn't cost any money to sleep in a tunnel.
Right.
And it's the kind of thing where when you're a tour guide, there's high season and low season. So we did most of these trips in the winter, like in February when there's no tourists. Money is not, like, you can travel cheap nowadays. Time is harder than money. Getting the time to do the stuff is the challenge.
All right, so you go to France and Italy.
Yeah, we went to France, we went to Italy, Naples, and Rome. We went to Sweden, London, Russia. Russia was the scariest, man. We almost got arrested in Russia. That was probably the scariest moment I've ever had in my life. Yeah, we're in Russia, right? And we meet some local Russian kids. And for those of you who don't know, the Russians are the craziest motherfuckers in the world.
Well, we see their videos.
Exactly.
Where they hang and do their push-ups and pull-ups, I should say. And
it's the kind
hanging with one arm. 1,000 feet off the ground.
Somebody tweeted, they were like, me is less than these guys is less than every Russian teenager. And I was just like, that is so true.
Yeah, some of that shit where they're just hanging.
Yeah, you weren't trying to say you were...
That's crazy.
You weren't trying to say that you were better than these guys. They're on a whole nother trip.
Yeah, they're on some crazy
what are they
stuff.
Thinking? He's doing pull-ups from an I-beam. That's just, you fall, you're just dead.
Yep.
How do they get out there? They just they don't give a fuck in Russia. They let the kids go wherever the hell they want, huh?
Pretty much. There's some great videos of them. There's these 7 buildings called the Seven Sisters in Moscow that are topped by stars, like the Red Communist Star. Yeah. And they, like, one of their games is to try to get to the top of all 7 of the stars. They have videos like reach for the star number 2, number 3. I don't know if they've gotten up all 7. But anyway, so we're in Russia, and we're hanging out with these Russian guys. And oh, good Lord, I'm watching
this guy Sam looked away. He's on a high beam. About how many feet would you say that offhand?
Oh, a few hundred at least.
Yeah,
500-600 feet maybe.
Definitely, you're dead.
I think that, and he's doing pull-ups and he's letting go. As you pull up, he lets go for a split second.
Oh wait, is that the top of the Moscow Bridge in Kiev?
Is it?
I don't know, but no, it's not.
Man.
There was this one bridge we climbed in Kiev, and we kind of went the easy way. We went inside and up to the top, and I was feeling all cool with myself. And then, like, later, I see this video of this 15-year-old Russian girl who climbed up the stay cables and did it like the insane way in the middle of the day. And I'm
holy
like,
shit!
Well, I'm not cool.
Them Russian broads.
Yeah. So anyway, we're in Russia.
They later use that talent for stripper poles. Climb right up them stripper poles. Love them Russians.
And we decide to go in a tunnel. We decide to go in the underground Neglinka River, which Moscow was formed at the intersection of the Moscow River and the Neglinka River, and then they put the Neglinka River underground. So we decide to go through the Neglinka River, and we're out kind of at the outskirts of the ring road, and we pop a manhole, and the guy we're with is dressed in this semi-official looking vest, and I'm like, is this cool? Are people going to stress? And he's like, no. The only time people care about anything is by the Kremlin with the special government police. And we're like, okay, fine. So we go down into the tunnel, and we're walking along, and it's, I think, maybe a couple of miles. And we get to the end, and we've walked right under Red Square.
Come on.
I swear to God.
That's Mission Impossible shit.
So we're under Red Square. We come to the outflow, and it's kind of raining a little bit, just like a little bit. And for those of you contemplating draining or going underground or whatever, the number one cardinal rule is do not go in drains if it's raining or gonna rain, because you will completely die.
Really?
Yeah, because everything, even if it's only a little trickle, everything that hits cement is eventually going to roll into the gutter and then go into a small drain and then go into the big collector drain where you are.
Man.
So, your drain is, let's say, 8 feet by 8 feet. That is not large enough to handle the runoff for an area of acres around you that's coming at you. So if you're in a drain when it rains, you're just, the water levels just
up
zoom
fast.
Yeah.
So we start to kind of freak out. We're like, we got to get out of here. We run back, and the first manhole we come to is right by, I want to say, the Bolshoi Theater. It's like the theater that's right by the Kremlin. And the guy we're with is like, okay, this is the worst way to get out, but we're just going to pop the manhole, we're going to scurry out, and we're going to hope nobody's around.
In Russia?
Yeah. Oh, man, come on.
I can see if it's in, I don't know, Cleveland or something.
Yeah, so we're like, okay.
Holy fuck.
So we pop the manhole, we scurry out. There's like, I think that there's 5 or 6 of us. And we're right by this huge statue of Karl Marx. So we go
like
out, we put the thing in the ground. Nobody else is around. We're like, thank God, we made it. We're okay. We sit down by the Karl Marx. Instead of getting the fuck out of there, which is like what you always should do, we just decide to like hang out and be happy with ourselves. And like, we're all wearing like rubber boots and hip waders and have like these giant backpacks and tripods hanging off our backpacks and all that thing. So we're just hanging there being happy with ourselves, looking completely ridiculous. Like, why are we dressed like we're going to go fishing in the middle of Red Square? And we just get rolled up on by these 3 like government police and machine guns and everything. And it was just like the scariest moment of my life.
I imagine those guys are everywhere.
Right.
You can't do
Just
anything.
waiting.
So it ended up being cool. The Russian guys talked to him for a while, and eventually they took off. We pretended we didn't, we obviously didn't speak Russian, but we also pretended we didn't speak English, and we're just like, well, oh no. Playing dumb sometimes works, but it was like those 5 minutes between when they rolled up on us and when they left were just like, I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm going to end my life in a Russian prison. Like, what is the point of that?
That could be an interesting exploration.
Yeah, exactly, right?
A gulag.
Locked up abroad.
Yeah, then you do locked up abroad.
So,
that's crazy.
There's so much in the book, but where were some of the coolest places? Some of the highlights that you really were like, holy cow, man.
So I'm going to spoil the end of the book, which I maybe shouldn't do, but the second to last chapter of the book, we're in Egypt, and I really wanted to climb the pyramids and just read the book, but the circumstances didn't allow for it. And it completely grated on me for like 2.5 years, and finally a couple of months ago I went back and did it. So I was, and you know who's doing it now? All the crazy Russian Skywalker climbing guys.
Oh yeah,
are all really into it now.
So obviously you were trying to go legit and climb the pyramids.
What?
No, back then when they said no. Oh, you just couldn't figure out a workaround?
I just bottled it. I just got too scared and just couldn't figure it out and bottled it. Yeah.
So you climbed to the top of one of the pyramids?
Yeah, really fun with a couple of friends.
Isn't that kind of hard because those blocks are pretty fucking?
The climb's pretty easy.
It is.
Yeah, the climb is the.
Oh, that's it right there.
Oh yeah. Oh hey,
Damn.
look at that.
Wow! Oh my God, is that cool? Where's this picture?
That's on
Twitter.
I think I tweeted it. Yeah, that's my friend. The guy who took it is.
Are you at the top right there?
Yeah. The guy who took it is the guy at the right. That's my friend QX, who's in the book.
How the fuck did you do that?
You just do it. Like all these, like a lot of times people are like, "How did you do that? Is there a secret tunnel? Is there a code or a password or something like that?" And the answer is like, honestly, just the way you think you do it. You just.
Wow.
Sneak in the middle of the night and just do it.
Right.
There's no guards?
I mean, if there are, they're pretty lazy about it.
Nah.
So actually,
How long did that climb take?
Maybe like 20 minutes, I want to say.
Oh, okay. And it was pretty easy, obviously.
I mean, it was exhausting.
Sure.
It was definitely like an exhausting climb, but it wasn't technically difficult, no.
Wow. And that's what the top looks like.
The top is covered in scratches. Like
really?
every square inch of the top is like, Joe was here 1952 or whatever.
No kidding.
Yeah, like the entire thing. Yeah, because the things are 3,000 years old. There's been a lot of time.
And you
could climb up them until the 80s. Huh. Until the 80s, it was just kind of chill, or maybe tip the guard something and do it. Mm-hmm. They only started getting uptight about it in the mid 80s. So a lot of this stuff is stuff that 50 years ago or 100 years ago or even 20, 30 years ago is not a big deal, and it's only a big deal now. Like, you could climb the pyramids in the 80s. You could go to the observation deck of the Chrysler Building in the 1940s. Mm-hmm. Like, I sneak into Stonehenge here just after hours, just kind of walked up and hung out at Stonehenge for a little bit.
But what do you see after hours that you don't see during the day?
It's just... You go during the day, you roll up, they send you through the tchotchke shop, you pay 15 quid, you have these ropes, everybody stand behind the ropes taking pictures. If you just go at night, you just do whatever you want. Like, you go there, you walk up the hill, you hang out, you kiss the rock, I don't know. It's just a different experience, it's a different experience.
Right.
But, you could do that, just hang out at Stonehenge 70 years ago. So a lot of this stuff is not new. I mean, I want to stress that. Like, none of this is... new or discovery or whatever. A lot of it is just as more and more people travel, as things go on, things become more and more restricted, and this is kind of a response to that restriction. If stuff was more chill, it wouldn't be a big deal.
You think this book is going to fuck it up for others?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't talk about a whole bunch of really tight stuff in the book. A lot of it takes place between 2005 2007, and the stories that were crazy to me back in 2006 are not crazy stories so much anymore. I mean, they will be for the reader, but not for me. So something like going into the catacombs was I was like, wow, this is the craziest thing I've done in my life. I'm flying across the world. I'm going in a hole in the ground. And the catacombs are like Urban Exploration 101, you know?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you could go there on a legit tour, right?
Yeah, you can do
what do you get to do differently?
So on a short tour of the catacombs, they take you down. It's a self-guided walking tour. You go down into the tunnels. You walk for about a half a mile or so through the tunnels, and it's where all the bones are, and the bones are like neatly stacked and everything like that. If you just go in a different way through a hatch or a hole in the ground, you've got about 170 miles to navigate. You know, it's not like a one little tunnel with a nice path. It's like playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Holy fuck.
It's like you look at the map and you're like literally like, wow, when I was 13, I was a half-elf mage going through here. It's really crazy. You could spend a week down there easy. And
I didn't realize it was so big.
Yeah, no, it's gigantic.
Expansive.
It runs almost from the Seine to the southern border of Paris. Like, it runs almost entirely under the 14th arrondissement. Like, you can walk. We actually, my friend Steve organized a trip where we tried to walk underground underneath Paris, like underneath the entire city of Paris. So you can get from the southern border to almost the Seine. Like, you can walk the entire South Bank in the catacombs, and then we did sewers for the north.
But how do you guys figure out where to pop out? That's just knowledge that's been passed around.
That's
obviously.
like, you got to know some folks sometimes to figure that.
Because this is like an underground culture where you guys, share information. You got a little something about New York. I'm going to trade for a little something about Sweden or whatever, right?
It's I would call it a network.
Right.
Like with the guy who climbed the pyramids with. He lives in Paris, and whenever I go over there, we always hang out and see stuff, and we hang out and see stuff when he comes over here. A lot of it are traveling Australians. Australians have these like magic abilities to live anywhere and go anywhere. I don't know. But yeah, it's like a worldwide network, and you know some people, and some people know some other people, and there you go.
You ever get arrested?
I got arrested in France once, actually. It's the first story in the book. We climbed up we were just boozed, man. It's like half of these adventures are just like, you're boozed and you're like, well, it seems like a good idea at the time. So we're in France, we're super boozed. This French guy we were with is like, hey, do you want to go climb a church? And we're like, sure, we're up for climbing a church. And like, we cross the river, and I'm like, I think the church he's talking about is the fucking Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's
so it's just
fuck.
So we're just there, and we just monkey it. Like, they've got these little scaffolding things, and we fit a couple of them together, and we're rattling like crazy. And we get up a couple of the terraces, and like, we just kind of like finagle our way up. And it's one of those things where, like, looking back on it, I don't know how it took so long for us to get arrested. But at the time, I was like, it's France. It'll be fine. Nobody will notice. But it was a very chill experience. France is a little more civilized than some other places, or a little more Latin. So we're just up there. The cops come up. They're like, excuse us, you cannot be here. Take us to the station, which is right across the street. Stick us in a cell, do a little breathalyzer test thing. And then after a couple of hours, they took us into the room. The police chief is there. Police chief is dressed like you. Like,
Not
just
good.
like casual.
Right.
He's like, okay, so did you get good pictures? We're like, I was freaked because, like, I watch cop shows. I'm not answering questions or anything. And I'm just like, he's like, kind of rolls his eyes at me. He has a piece of paper. He's like, okay, so listen. You're a tourist. You are taking pictures. You don't know you can't climb cathedral. You are very sorry. You don't do it again. Here, sign this. You go away. And I was like,
wow.
In America, I'm not signing anything
Right.
a cop puts in front of me and it's like, sign this, you know? But France, it's just France. It's just a little more chill. So I was like, all right. And he's like, he takes his pen, he gets up, takes his pen, walks out of the door and just goes, voila, like that.
Just
throws it over his shoulder. And I was like, wow, they would not do that if they caught me climbing St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Probably didn't talk to the police. It's just some assholes that want to fuck with you.
So that happened in France. And yeah, that was, I got called in once here in New York, but I got out in a couple of hours. That was an interesting experience. That's about it. Nothing serious.
What was the one in New York?
I just got caught, like, not even anything real, just like kind of on the wrong side of a fence that really should be like not a big deal. But for whatever reason, they were uptight about it. So they took us in. They got us out in like 2 or 3 hours, but it was just an interesting experience. Like, I'd never been in a New York City jail or anything. So I was like, all right, well, we'll find out what this is like. So, I just got thrown in with essentially like the local knuckleheads for a few hours. And it was, just seeing that side of life. And, the thing I took out of it is just like, nobody was in there for anything real. People were in there for like, I got an open container, or like I was smoking weed, or like, just piddly garbage things that it's like, and they all, like one of the guys got collared for an open container, and he had an outstanding summons for riding his bike on the sidewalk. And, they sent him through the system, like 24 hours in jail without, like, just disappeared. And it's just like, so a lot of folks in there were just in there on like garbage stuff, and it's like ruins your whole next day, get an arrest record. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, that's a little out of control,
right,
like, in my opinion.
Now, you said that the best place you like to be is on top of a bridge in New York City.
Yeah, or any city, actually.
How many bridges have you been on top of?
Oh, a lot.
Brooklyn Bridge?
Yep.
Manhattan Bridge?
Yep. Williamsburg, Queensboro.
Have you climbed outside?
Yeah, Firth.
We all see that shit when we're going across bridges, and you always kind of imagine like, it'd be kind of cool to walk up this.
Exactly, man.
But that's where it ends for most people.
Right, but like in Sydney, Australia, they have a bridge climb, and it's enormously popular. It does like $16 million of business a year or something.
Right.
Like, everybody goes. It's like so cool. And the Sydney Harbor Bridge is probably the most famous landmark on the continent, So it's something where people are like, why do you want to do that? And I'm like, don't you want to do that? And they're like, well, yeah, of course. And I'm like, well, then you answered your own question. So I would love it if they could do, the equivalent of a Sydney Harbor Bridge climb on the Queensboro or the
I've said that too.
Yeah, I think it would make a ton of money and be great for the city.
No shit. But how do you get
climbing on the outside of the bridge?
However they would.
Well,
do
that's
it,
how they do it in Sydney, though.
Yeah, they do it in Sydney.
It's
Someone tells me there's not many lawyers in
I know.
Australia.
This is the kind of thing where if you have like the will to figure it out, like you can get around the lawyer stuff. Like, I'm a firm believer that the people make the decisions and then tell the lawyers to make it work.
What I don't understand about climbing bridges outside like that is, with all the cars going by, how the fuck do you get away with that?
I haven't climbed a bridge in a while, actually. Definitely, in a while.
Because they're absolutely watching bridges around New York City these days.
Folks.
But you have to go over that first fence, the one fence that, people go, all right, I got to climb over that, and then maybe fall into the fucking river, and then I get on that thing, and then I go up.
Well, if you don't, it takes a little bit of monkeying around.
Fuck.
Takes a little bit of monkeying around, but sometimes it's worth it, because being on top of a bridge is the most amazing experience, because like you get two different views, you get two different experiences. Like, you've been to Long Island City or Williamsburg and you're looking across the river at the skyline, and that's awesome. And you've been up to like the Empire State Building or whatever, and you're looking down on the city, and that's also awesome. If you're on top of a bridge, you get those two things at once. You get like the vertical separation and the horizontal separation. It's this totally unique view. And plus, like, you're by yourself, you're on top of a bridge. It's like a really great experience.
Jeez.
Why are you guys shaking your heads at me?
I'll drive on the bridge.
No, I think
I like that.
I absolutely think it's cool. It's just like crazy. There's one other. You ever have a near miss where you had a little slip besides falling in the hole at the courthouse?
No, I've been pretty good. So, like getting arrested, getting hurt, all of that stuff, all comes from just like getting too happy with yourself and not paying attention. It doesn't come from like I've never had a
forgetting your flashlight.
Or forgetting your flashlight. But I've never had a near
not checking
miss.
The batteries.
Well, we were all right though. We ended up okay. It was only I only fell in a hole once. But it all comes from not paying attention. So the times when I've ever been in like had any kind of slips or near misses have always been with stuff I was comfortable with and just got too comfortable with it and did stop paying attention. All the crazy stuff where I'm like really hyper alert and really like in the zone and focused, I've always been okay with.
Right. Okay. And finally, Ant brought this to my attention the other day that someone climbed up the World's Fair. What is that called?
The observation towers.
Oh, yeah.
The observation towers at the World's Fair. There was a video recently. Was it a video, Ant, or picture?
Pictures in his story.
Yeah.
He used a grappling hook to get up there because he couldn't.
Is that Steve's old story that you found on the website?
Might
Might have been, because I remember he had. I mean, that's got to be from like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was.
I really like that story. I've always.
It was a
liked
good
that
one.
story.
He's at night. He's trying to throw the grappling hook, and it's going clang, clang on the ground.
Yeah, that's Steve's story.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But that's from like I think 10 years ago or like a while ago.
And you've been up there too, you said, right?
Yeah, I was up there once. Not too long after that. Probably like 6 or 7 years ago. Oh no, I take it back. I was up there twice. We rappelled off of there once just for fun.
Oh,
wow, really?
Yeah, just off of the lower deck, not off of the super high deck.
And you were telling me the stairs are all gone, right?
The stairs are like super rusty and like. Oh, you got the picture? Yeah, you can kind of see.
Yeah, no real treads on the stairs. They're just you got to kind of walk up on the rails that the treads used to be on, and that's all rusted.
That's actually one of the better ones.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
How do you get back down? It's
Same way you get up. Although
I know, but it just seems easier to climb up than when you're seeing like it's a lot of stairs missing and it's time to climb down, and that seems almost scarier.
Climbing down is always easier for me because I'm already in the zone and like
Right.
it's less. I don't have to like get hyped up for it. They did renovate the tower a couple of years ago, so they might have.
Yeah, they
fixed the
painted
stairs.
it or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember that.
But I mean, that's another place. Like, throw in a new staircase and let people up there again. I mean, seriously, it's a great view.
Yeah, people would pay.
Yeah, definitely.
People would pay to see this shit. Cool.
I just find it so funny that like you can't do anything in the city, so I can't imagine them allowing you to do anything that would be fun.
But there's been a lot of stuff that's gotten reopened because you have folks who go there kind of guerrilla style, take pictures, people get into it. The High Line, like the High Line was this beautiful old abandoned rail line, got a lot of attention from people just walking on it, taking pictures, and now it's redeveloped. Another one is the old City Hall station, like this beautiful, beautiful old abandoned subway station underneath City Hall. That's one that now they open for tours. You got to join the Transit Museum, but you can go on a tour like
you can
2 or
finally
3
go and
times
check it
a
out.
year. Yeah. So I think that like once interest in this stuff becomes known, people, and it's known that, hey, you can do tours, you can make a buck.
Right.
Stuff happens and stuff gets opened. Like, I love abandoned observation decks, and they reopened the Rockefeller Center observation deck was abandoned for 20 years before they reopened it.
And you fool around with the subways where you got to like time out the trains going by and shit.
Yeah, I haven't been in the subways for a minute either. I don't I mean, that one is like, if you have the urge to go, you're not going to get talked out of it. If you don't have the urge to go, you're not going to get talked into it. I feel like it's just one of those things some people really are into. But I haven't been in a minute, so.
And that's to go see the abandoned subway stations?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in the subways.
See any of the big rats down there?
No, see, the thing is, everybody always asks me about rats in tunnels. Rats live where there's food, and there's food where there's people. So most of the rats in the subway stations are actually in the stations because that's where people are and throw their garbage and stuff like that. They're not in the tunnels because there's no food in the tunnels. I have run into rats in the London sewers, though, and it was really gross.
How big?
Oh, like
Someone apparently cracked a rat.
big and like a nice colony.
Remember that? Someone cracked a rat.
You let a nervous fart out, Moses?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't get nervous.
Who farted?
I don't know, but wow.
Sam?
No,
Sam, is that you?
I'm a lady.
That's terrible.
Very cool. Well, Moses, I think the book's going to do very well. I want to have you back because there's so much more we want to cover. Like, people want to, talk about their cities and stuff like that.
Yeah, because every city has cool stuff to see, definitely.
I go to Rochester a lot, and I know, not a lot, once or twice a year, but they have an abandoned subway system up there.
Yeah, I've never been. I would love to go. I
was reading some articles on it. It's pretty damn cool what they were talking about. I would love to see it.
There's an abandoned subway system it's actually not abandoned. It was built and never used in Cincinnati also. So
Why did they never use it?
I don't know the entire story behind it. I know that, they had constructed it, and then I think they ran out of funding or something like that. I don't know the entire story behind it. I just know there's this entire system. In Antwerp, there's a system that was built and not used.
Wow.
Also, wherever you are, any city in the world, there's, like, stuff to see.
Have you gone deep underground in New York where what are they called? The mud, where they're drilling?
What do they call them?
Are you talking like the 2nd Avenue subway?
No, even deeper than that. For the
City water tunnel number 3? No, I've never been. So
yeah, they call the workers like mud rats or mud fucking...
I forgot now.
Sandhogs.
Sandhogs, of course. Sandhogs.
So sandhogs are heroes of all of ours. We think sandhogs are like the coolest people in the world. So they're digging a bunch of tunnel projects. They're digging a new tunnel to Grand Central. They're digging the 2nd Avenue subway. They were doing the West Side line, extending the number 7 line. They're doing City Tunnel number 3. So there's a lot of tunnels. And the MTA especially has been good about like letting engineering students on tours and things like, for educational purposes and stuff. So I've gotten to go to a couple of them just on official tours.
Is it cool?
It's super cool, man. And it's the kind of thing where, like, I was on the one where they're digging the tunnel to Grand Central, and I was like, why don't you do these tours all the time? And the guy was just like, we got a tunnel to dig, man.
No
we can't,
right, no kidding.
All right, fair enough, But, that's another thing, like, so many people are interested in it, and I think they could, definitely take, you can't do it 24/7, but they could certainly take more folks down there. The City Water Tunnel number 3 I've never been to. I'd really like to go on an excursion in there.
Very good. All right. We're going to have Moses back, but his book is called Hidden Cities. Moses NYC on Twitter. But Hidden City, when does the book come out? Tomorrow?
No, man. The book dropped last Thursday in bookstores now. Check it out.
Yeah, so check it out in all the usual places. But Hidden Cities, a whole bunch of stories from around the world, really.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, Cairo, Moscow, London, Stockholm, New York, a bunch of places. Sao Paulo.
We got to get back out there and do another something.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll see where to go. There's a few places.
Yeah, but now the book's out, the spotlight's going to be on you for a little while.
I might lay low for a minute, yeah.
You probably should lay low. Yeah. That would be a good catch. That'd be a good catch for New York City.
I disagree. It all comes out of a place of love, and I think it's pretty obvious.
Very cool. All right, Moses. Moses Gates, like I said, Moses NYC on Twitter. Hidden Cities, travels to the secret corners of the world's great metropolises, a memoir of urban exploration. All right, man. Thanks, Moses.
All right, thanks for having me on.
And I think that's it for today, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here.